Hi everyone, today we're going to dive right into the video as this one is a pretty big deal for our family. You never see us at the airport and there's a good reason for that. Truly one of the greatest fears we have as an autism family, in fact one of the greatest fears of any autism family, is getting on an airplane. The reason being is there's such finality to it. Once you're on the plane, there's no way off except an emergency landing, which has happened by the way. This means if your loved one is on the autism spectrum and has any major difficulties like needing a space to calm down, becoming anxious, bumping into people because they don't like being touched, having a sensory meltdown from the loud noises and general hustle and bustle, or any other issues, there really is nowhere to go. What makes matters worse is stressing out the pilot who already has a difficult job and ruining everyone else's trips if they have to land the plane unexpectedly. To me, there is no magic pill to such a situation. Having said that, we did a lot of research going into this trip to try and prevent any catastrophe, and I'm happy to report that there were only a couple of small issues the entire trip, which was wonderful considering all three of our boys are on the autism spectrum. I really believe the only reason we can say that is because we prepared. Also, the only way this trip happened is because we didn't pay for it. A friend who wishes to remain anonymous funded the trip to Disneyland, and we certainly didn't want to turn that down, even with our legitimate concerns. A special thanks to our friend. So if you want to know what we did to keep things running smoothly with our autistic kids, keep watching. I'm sure you'll find some useful tips. The first thing we did was call the airline to give them a heads up. And surprise, surprise, I was put on hold for over half an hour until finally I just hung up. So now we had the issue of showing up to the airport without them knowing we had special needs. So right out of the gate, things were not going too well. The next thing we did was try and get our kids psyched up for their first plane ride. Ian is the only one who had been on a plane and he was way too little to remember anything. So here's just a little bit of the discussion we had with our kids. Alistair, are you excited to go fly in the plane?
Yes.
Yes? All right, buddy. It's gonna be awesome. Hey Connor, are you excited to go on the flight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? What are you most excited about?
I've never been on a plane before.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Wednesday. At the very late night until the morning, we'll have to leave.
Are you excited about it?
Yes.
What do you think it's gonna be like?
It's gonna feel like me flying above. It looks like I'm gonna fly above the clouds.
Wow. The next thing we did to prepare was bring our children's comforts along for the ride. What do I mean by that? Well, we brought the items that give them the most comfort when they are stressed out. One example is Alistair's flannel pillowcase. The sensory input he gets from the touch of flannel and the clean linen smell really calm him down. Another item that came in handy was headphones. Our middle son, Connor, who is the least severe on the autism spectrum, surprised us because he was the only one who requested drowning out the airplane noise with headphones. We thought for sure it would be Alistair, but you never know. All of our boys have an app or game they like on the iPads, so we made sure all of those devices were fully charged and we had chargers and battery banks on hand. These devices really came in handy when waiting to board the plane, but even with that, Alistair kept getting distracted by other things. For instance, there was this cute little puppy he took a liking to. There was also a Lego store next door that distracted the kids. Alistair also loved watching the planes take off and land by looking out the window. If you don't have electronic devices like that, you can check out the plane information beforehand to see if they have any built-in screens for watching shows while flying, which is really a great distraction. This helped Alistair while he was stimming and reacting to all the sensory input on the plane. One thing that really helped was that even though we didn't get a hold of the airline over the phone, I could speak with an employee and he helped us right away by allowing us to board the flight early after I explained our situation. This was especially helpful to our oldest son Ian, who doesn't take well to being touched by others. When leaving the flight and walking around Disneyland, we did our best to keep a buffer zone around Ian so people wouldn't bump into him, but even then, sometimes that didn't work out, like on the shuttle bus ride. You can tell Ian is leaning away from this gentleman. Another consideration we had was stress toys and chew toys. What's interesting is that Alistair is our big chewer, but hasn't been interested in chew toys lately. This was pretty concerning too, as during the flight and also at Disneyland, he chewed his fingers so much it started to bleed a little, but every time we offered alternatives, he turned them down. We just had to put a band-aid on his finger and move on. Even with all this planning, you'll probably hit snags like we did. We had to deal with unexpected weather, which caused a delay in the flight while they de-iced the plane. We decided to turn that into a fun learning experience for the boys and had them look out the window to see the plane getting sprayed down with the chemical de-icer fluid. Fortunately, that worked. There were other issues like a return flight leaving at 4 in the morning and having an absurdly long baggage check line at the LAX. These things are just part of traveling via airplane, and while they're just inconveniences and headaches to most people, they can be deal breakers for people on the spectrum. Another thing I should mention is Alistair would run off from time to time, so we had a buddy system in place for our 3 boys. This could only work with the help of their grandma, who was also included in the trip. If it's possible, consider having another family member along for your trip to help out. It can make all the difference in the world, especially if you are outnumbered like we were. Now don't worry, we're going to have more videos showing our experiences at Disneyland, but we wanted to keep this one focused on the airport experience to help those who are traveling with those on the autism spectrum. I'm sure there are more things you can do to prepare, and I know our subscribers will leave many helpful tips in the comments on ways to help prepare for the airport experience. Oh, and one more thing, we flew with Delta, and they have rooms that people on the spectrum can go to if they are overwhelmed. Fortunately, we didn't have to utilize that perk when we went, but it's an option worth mentioning. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.